Hello friends, you're here with me, Jenn the Taxidermy Witch, and we are doing our first Tuesday, telling tales on a Tuesday out of our weekly lineup schedule, because I have now, on Monday through Sunday, I do a set video every day on a set topic. So, Tuesdays, telling tales on a Tuesday. What will you expect? Well, you'll get to know me on more of a personal level, with my stories, my life lessons, humor, etc. It's definitely still going to tie into witchcraft on one level or another. But I want to get to know you guys a little bit more and tell you a little bit more about my personal life and just getting to know me and my humor and stuff. Like that trampoline video, that was fun, right? A lot of people like that, I guess. I watch it from time to time myself to make myself laugh. I think it's great. I'll attach it in the description. My Taxidermy Witch on a Trampoline. And also, I'll from time to time read like passages out of my favorite books, or you know, read you some poetry, or show you like something that I've done throughout the week that I didn't show you on a video. Yeah, and so that's what you expect. So I've gotten a lot of video requests on what is a spirit guide. Jen, can you tell me what spirit guides are? So, since we're telling tales on a Tuesday, I thought I would tell you about an encounter I've had, or a couple of things that have happened to me in my life where I knew that it was a spirit guide or an earth angel. And so we'll talk about the difference of all of those. And I'm going to read a little bit out of a book that I don't care for too much, just because right on the front it says a modern day white witch's guide. This is Wiccapedia. I don't like using the word and the phrase white or black witch, because if you look into it, the roots of it are racial, from what my research has shown me, going back into like working with hoodoo and such during the time of the slaves. So we just really need to look into that and watch what words we're saying, and just be really careful on how to phrase those the appropriate way. And also, if you're using the words white witch, it's okay. I think all you're trying to do is just say I'm practicing good, safe magic. But the thing is just that it offends a lot of people, so just know that going in. But you should say whatever feels right to you, okay? Bear with me for just a moment. Okay, so if you say those things, you know, I'm a white witch, just look into a little bit more of what it means. And also, if you want to say it and you don't care what anybody thinks because you're trying to say I'm just a good witch, then say it, you guys. But I'm just trying to let you know that there are a couple of controversial opinions on those words. So yes, I'm going to be telling you about my first, and who knows, maybe last, experience with an earth angel. And first, I'll tell you about the difference between everything. Okay, so an angel is a spirit that has never been in a human form. It's ultimately divine. And when I'm talking about this, I'm not tying in Christianity at all. Okay? An angel is a pure, very, very, very pure soul. We all have a guardian angel that will help us. But they're not right next to us all the time. You actually have to call upon them. And from what I understand, they are assigned to each of us. We each have at least one guardian angel. We each have many spirit guides that stay with us and close all of the time. You're never alone, you guys. So if you ever feel scared or terrified, just remember that you are never alone, and all you have to do is verbally, out loud, ask for their help. Guides, please be with me. I'm very scared at this moment. Guides, please help me. I need your help right now. Guides, please protect me in my car ride. Please get me there safe. Every time I get into the car, I say that. And I have a protection witches bottle that you guys have seen before that I carry with me in my car, Anthea. So you just need to call out to your guides, and from wherever they are, they'll come with you. What is a spirit guide? Okay? A spirit guide is a spirit who has once been a human and is now in another realm, and they've been assigned to, or they choose to stay with us and guide us through hard situations. Now, sometimes our guides will change between different life, what do you call it? Like a big, serious chunk of your life, different life situations. So, say you're going through and you're having a really hard time finding a job and getting your feet getting your feet on solid ground. There might be a spirit guide that comes down and helps you specifically for that. In my heart, I think that I've had the same guide for quite some time that stays right beside me. Now, a lot of people also think that spirit guides might be a saint. Like, a really common one is Saint Michael. I believe he's a really common spirit guide or angel. But I don't know too much about the different angels' names and all that stuff. Archangel Michael. That's who a tarot reader told me was my angel or my spirit guide. So we've got angels, never been in human form. Okay? We've got spirit guides, have been in a human form before, but are now helping us on a completely different plane. Okay? And then we have earth angels. Now that is when an angel comes to help us in human form, but they don't want to scare us. So, for instance, if a child were to see their guardian angel and it were to show itself as an earth angel, it would probably come into this realm as a child to show that child comfort and not to be scared. Because to children, adults on some level or another are intimidating or scary, so the angel would want to give that child the most comfort it could and least fear. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about my interaction with an earth angel, and when I had an earth angel come to help me. I'm going to tell you at least one story about that, and then I'm going to read from this book. I don't know whether I should read first or tell my story first. Probably read first. So, all of chapter 2 in the book Wiccapedia by Leanna Greenaway and Sean Robbins. Sorry, Sean. So, I'm just going to start reading. Ready? Let's go. Angel mania is spreading across the world, and angels are becoming more and more popular as each year passes. These beautiful beings have always had their place in the craft, but they usually play a secondary role in the more traditional Wiccan gods and goddesses. Today you won't find many British witches connecting with the gods and goddesses, though there are branches of Wicca in the United States and elsewhere that do. Is that true, you guys? Like, I don't know a lot about... I'm not British. I know a lot about British things, but this is the first I've heard of that. So for those of you in the UK, please let me know. Yeah, because that just sounds a little bit singling out. On a relatively new path called Angelic Wicca, which my mother and I informally helped to develop several decades ago in England, most spells and rituals are directed to the angelic energies instead. This is no slur on our ancient teachings, just as most things evolve with time, so is witchcraft. There are still some witches who prefer the conventional gods and goddesses, and it's perfectly okay to work with them if that's what your heart is telling you. You can adopt all the spells in this book to summon your god or goddess for your needs, whatever they may be. Angels reside in a different realm than ours, one that is ideal in every way. In traditional religions, they are portrayed as pure, beautiful, shining, winged creatures living alongside God as heavenly assistants, divine messengers, and guides and guardians to humans. Angels have long played and still do play an important part in many faiths, but as with many supernatural beings, no one can say with certainty what they are like. I think it's funny that they said supernatural and then they also said religion. Just something to think about. Lots of people profess to have seen one of these beautiful beings firsthand, but sadly I have not had the pleasure. While I like to think that there are male and female angels out there, some people believe them to be androgynous. I've studied many books over the years on angels. I'd like to know what books they are because I want to get some more books on guides and angels. If you guys know of any that you love, please comment and let me know. Some state that they are genderless, while others depict them as having a gender. I personally go with my heart on this one. In a way, it makes it easier for me to relate to angels if I see them as men or women, especially when I call on them so often. In my research, I have found that not only do they have an inner beauty, angels are commonly thought to be glamorous in appearance as well. Those who have been fortunate enough to see angels often remark on their radiant colors, heavenly smiles, and never-ending patience. Children have more encounters with angels than adults on average because children haven't been in the planet very long. They are much closer to the spirit world than we are and can more easily tap into the psychic portals. I completely believe this. Sometime I'll do a story time just on my niece, who is also my best friend. We're estranged at the moment. Please come back to me, girl. Please come back to me. But she's like a daughter to me. And since she was talking and walking, she has been doing witchcraft in her own way. She's amazing. I miss her and I love her so much. Yeah, angels on your shoulder. Angels are said to be able to take any form and adapt to the needs and beliefs of the humans they are trying to help. The angel's aim is not to frighten. For instance, and this is what I talked about before, a child might be frightened to see a huge winged spirit sitting at the foot of their bed, so an angel appearing to a child might morph into something a little less dramatic, such as a dot of dancing light or a spirit child. This allows the child to interact with the angel and get used to its vibration. The angel then grows in size and maturity as the child grows and matures. So this is talking about an angel presenting itself to a child more than once over time. When I was a child, I like this story, I often saw the spirit of a beautiful blonde dog that would appear for a few seconds every now and again. I instinctively knew that it was a positive presence and there to protect me. The lucky few who have seen a winged angel in person remark that the angel wings are not like birds' wings, but actually glowing lights that oscillate from the angels' bodies. This light creates streams of healing energy that vibrate with shimmering hues. Colors that are difficult to describe because they are not even seen in this world. If you want to know how to see those colors, I can tell you. Just ask me. When I was about 6 years old, I was very inquisitive about angels and always fired probing questions to my poor mother. One day, I innocently asked her if angels had sex. She choked on her coffee before composing herself, then went on to reassure me that angels are far too pure and godly to resort to such primitive acts. Of course, me being me, I had to answer for everything, so I retorted that she was obviously wrong because there were loads and loads of baby cherubs out there. I believe her reply was, "Cherubs have been created, dear, as baby angels and remain as cherubs for human children to play with." What a nice thought. Earth angels. Many people do not realize that angels can also take on human form and materialize as ordinary folk. The angel could be the person you meet in passing when you are taking a stroll on the beach, the passenger sitting next to you on the bus chattering about something or nothing. Sometimes they appear just to see how you are doing. Sometimes they lend a hand and pick you up if you are to fall flat on your face. Angels have also been known to magically intervene when something is destined or not destined to happen. Have you ever wondered at the coincidences in your life or marveled at the times when you came out of dangerous situations unscathed? There's a great deal of angelic intervention going on in the world, and there are angels interacting with all of us all of the time. Just as we have our own spirit guides, which are different from angels, each and every one of us has an angel watching over us too. If you are in the wrong place at the wrong time, be assured that your guardian angel will be there. Although sometimes you need to directly experience a harmful situation because it's a life lesson that you have to undergo, your guardian angel will be present to guide you if it's not your fate to come out unscathed. There are countless stories about people who have been being saved from disaster at the last moment. I'm sure you've heard or experienced a few yourself, and there are many books that go into detail to convince you that we are not alone. In 2009, my mother wrote Simply Angels, which has a wealth of information on all aspects of angelic vibrations. Here we'll answer just a few of the more commonly questions that we have been asked about angels. So right now we're at 16 minutes. I have to pause the book so that I can tell you my tale. Okay. This is my story about an earth angel. I was 17 years old, and I was driving from Seattle in Washington across the border into Idaho to visit my grandmother and my uncle. I had gone over there and I was on my way home. Now when I was 17, and I stayed awake and I was on my way home. Now when I was 17 years old, we didn't have cell phones. We had car phones that like had a cord and stuff, but we didn't have cell phones. So I'm in my little Nissan and I'm driving home, had a super wonderful trip, visiting my grandma, my Uncle Ike, everybody. And it was one of those things where you're like driving and your gas is getting low and you're like, oh, I'll make it to the next gas station. Well, I didn't. And I was about half a mile away from the Columbia River on the Idaho, not the Idaho side, but the side further from Seattle. So I hadn't crossed the river yet. And, you know, I was a dumb young kid and I just like rode the gas light. Well, I never did that again, but like in that area, there's just a lot of riffraff that happens around nighttime. So basically, it's dark and it's just gotten dark. My car runs out of gas. I have the windows down because it's so bloody hot. Like, it's just humid and hot and gross, even when the sun went down at like, whatever, 9-10 p.m. A car went past me with a whole bunch of people in it, and they saw that I was alone, and it was a bunch of men who had seemed to like look like they'd been drinking, and they said, "Woohoo, we'll come back for you right after we get more beer." And I was so scared. Like, I didn't know what that meant, but it didn't mean anything good, and a 17-year-old girl versus a truckload of drunk men scared the bejesus out of me. So, I sat there, and I said out loud, "God, please help me. I do not want to be in this situation. Please send me help right now." I closed my eyes, I put my hands together, and I prayed. And at this point in my life, the religion I had was Christianity. I was brought up Catholic, and I wasn't practicing it or going to church, but it was the only way I knew to ask for some supernatural or last-minute help. So, sitting in my car with my eyes closed, and then there's a tap on the window, a really light tap. And normally you'd be scared, terrified in that situation. But with my eyes closed, I heard the tap, and I can't explain the feeling, just white light, security, comfort, and I wasn't scared. And on the other side of my car window, it was a man. Now, in any situation like this, I would have been terrified if it was a man I didn't know out in the middle of nowhere. But I didn't feel like that. I felt euphoria, and I felt pure comfort, not not a dollop of scared in my being. I opened the door, and he said, "Hello. It looks like you need some help." And I said, I do. I was just praying for help because I didn't know what to do. My car's run out of gas." And he said, "May I take a look?" And I said, "Of course." So I got out of my car, and he got in the driver's seat, and then he just put his hands over the speedometer and the gas gauge, and then he removed them, and he said, "Are you sure? Because look, you're full." And I said, "Wow, thank you." It's hazy. I don't remember the details in particular because it was honestly like I was in a trance. This euphoria that filled me was just so beautiful, and there's no way for me to explain it. I wish that there was. But it was almost like I was watching it in a movie, this whole thing that happened, and my memory does not come out of my eyes. My memory comes from like looking down. So I don't know if in that moment I was removed from my body or what happened, but I'm just trying to explain to you how this felt. So he got out of the car, and I got back in, and I suppose that I should describe what he looked like. He had long hair that was pulled back into a ponytail, really clean cut, light facial hair, just a little bit around, very short and clean. The most beautiful eyes. When I looked into them, I can't explain that either. It just heightened that feeling of euphoria. It put a smile on my face. It put warm tingles in my hands. I can't explain it, but I'm trying really hard. So when he got out of the car, I noticed then, he was wearing, oh, it's going to sound cliche, you guys. He was wearing a white long sleeve shirt, and he was wearing chinos, which are like khaki, light colored khaki slacks. So he just looked like what you would think an angel would appear on earth and look like. It sounds very cliche, but again, these cliches come from somewhere, right? So as soon as he got out of the car, we were standing there together, and I said, "There's no way, I ran out of gas." And he said, "I think you might be wrong." And I got in the car, and I looked at my gas gauge, and it was full. I started my car, and I looked back to say thank you, and he was gone. So, the angel probably saved me from a really terrible situation that was about to happen with those guys that drove by. And we're at 23 minutes. I might have enough time to read a couple little more snippets out of this book, but it's the only one of my books that have information that I could find on spirit guides, guardian angels, or angels. So I think I should do a part 2 on angels. Let me tell you what's going to be in here. These are commonly asked questions about angels. How many are out there? What happens when you summon an angel? How do I know I am summoning the right angel? A simple spell to summon your angel or guide. What do I tell the kids? Question mark. Guardian angels. And yeah, so I'll definitely be doing a part 2 to this angels video, and then I'll tell you one more story that I have on spirit guides or angels. So I always try really hard not to do that, you guys, but I'm an empath, so I just it's difficult to keep in my tears. I love you guys so much. I do recommend you at least check out this book, Wiccapedia, but it's not something that is going to be probably a real staple to you unless you want to practice white witch magic. And again, you can say it if you want to, it's just not something I say because it offends people, Have a beautiful day, you guys. Thanks for coming back with me and listening to me tell you tales on a Tuesday. Have a beautiful one. Thanks, guys.